One of the most powerful tools for active portfolio management is short selling, if you know how to do it. Now, let's look at the short versus long. Long, suppose we're looking just the long only. Now, if you long is security, and then you doing is you do analysis to find the fund, all right, with undervalued stocks. So for the short, on the other hand, then you doing is to fund the overvalued stock. So you wish the stock price dropped, the other you're looking for price increase. But both is looking for alpha, all right, the excess return. Now, so what is the differences between long and short? Okay, the most important part is risk. Let's talk about risk level first. Now, because if you own an asset, so the maximum loss you have is the value of the asset. So actually the maximum loss is zero. So that the loss is limited to the amount of your invest. However, if you look at the short in theory, and the price goes up, you're going to lose. So there is no limit on the upside, right? Therefore, the risk level for short, that is unlimited liability. Now, sometimes there's a term called short squeeze. The short squeeze is when somebody know you are shorting an asset, and they try to, because you're so worried about price goes up. So those people will try to do is to purchase those assets you have. Yeah, you short your position. So when the price keeps going up, you're going to face the margin call and turn to the place that your broker have to buy for you in order to get their money back. So that time you're going to buy your asset back at a very very high price, and you're going to have a huge amount of loss. This we call short squeeze. Therefore, if you're not a professional people, you never do short selling, okay, because it's very very risky. Now, in terms of information, of course, the loan, the people had a loan position looking for good news. Okay, so they they cannot take any advantage of the negative news. However, if you have a negative news, for example, a nature disasters or war or disease or and all kind of negative news, the short can take advantage of that. All right, if you have a negative forecast and then you do short selling, that's the reason why you look at so-called the bear market, and when have tremendous negative news involved in the market, the short selling interest increase. Now there's another part differences is the cost, right? Buying an asset, all you need to do is pay the commission. If you're selling an asset, if short asset, because short means you sell something you don't have. That means you borrow the asset, you borrow the stock and sell. So you're going to have to pay not only the commission, but also some other the borrowing costs. Okay, and that cost is not trivial, and sometimes very important. Now, for the long only, you have to also worry about there's called a residual risk. Here, the definition for residual risk is risk that is left from your hedge position. Now, in portfolio management, when we construct a portfolio by different sector, variety of stocks, the purpose is try to minimize idiosyncratic risk and holding the systematic risk. Therefore, a diversified portfolio, it is a hedge portfolio. It hedges the systematic risk. Now, if you have a long position and then the performance is mismatched with the benchmark, so that means you have the tracking risk. And that tracking risk is we call residual risk. So here I just put the definition here. The long position portfolio, one of the important risks we need to consider is the residual risk. Now, this is a very important question here. We observe that if you look at the short only portfolio versus the long only portfolio, the short side alpha actually is greater than the long side alpha, meaning that the short only position can generate more excess return than the long only portfolio position. Why? Okay. Now, there's several reasons. Actually, two major reasons. One is the market restriction. Second is the information bias. Okay. It's toward to the bias toward to the long only. Now, look at this. If you want to do short selling, then it's not everybody can do it. All right, you go to the you set up a brokerage account. You're not able just to do the short selling. You're going to involve huge amount the margin requirement. So less people, all right, can do the short sale. So there's a barrier for short sale. Therefore, less market participant. Less market. Everybody can buy the stock, but not everybody can short sell the stocks. Therefore, if you are a professional, you have the ability to do the short and long. Then normally, if you do short selling, if you know how to control the risk, usually will generate higher return than those guys just have a long only. Okay, so that's important, right? Because there's a restriction. The other one is information. All those information related to, say, for example, the security analyst recommendation. Now, most of the analysts, they're not willing to make sell recommendation. They always make buy recommendation, because when you do the sell recommendation, you may against somebody who had a large position in that firm or other things. So analysts usually doesn't want to cover unfavorable stocks or providing recommendation of sales. And it's true that there are many analysts work for investment banks had a strong incentive not to issue negative report, because their bonus, their salary, their income were based on their recommendation. So why you want to put something against them? Okay. All right. The other one, of course, is more minor. The firm's management's more likely to promote a firm stock through accounting manipulation. All right. So they manipulate. They make the earning much higher than it should be. Therefore, the information is biased toward the buy side, not the sell side. But if you know there's a manipulation, then you can do short sale. That's the reason why short get more abnormal return than the long.